Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to ask the panel, do you believe that corporate tax cuts pay for themselves? Mr. Aiken?
No.
They don't pay.
Not by itself. You need the growth to go along with it, and you need some other reforms as well.
Again, not by themselves, but with additional growth and reforms, the answer is yes.
Mr. Ratner?
No.
Okay. The American economy growth slowed at the start of 2018 as household spending stalled in spite of the recent tax cuts. The U.S. economy grew at a rate of 2.3% in the first quarter of this year, according to the United States Commerce Department. That was slower than the 2.9% in the fourth quarter of 2017. So it appears as though, despite all the glittering generalities about the effect of this tax cut, economic growth has actually slowed from the quarter preceding the enactment of the tax cut. I noticed in responding to other members here that each one of you perked up considerably when the issue of growth was raised, particularly the two gentlemen that run businesses. I would imagine that economic growth, creating aggregate demand in the economy would be something you would view very, very favorably. You know, the president has stated during the context of his campaign and then subsequent that the goal of his administration is to get the American economy to grow at 4%. I would submit to you there's two ways of spending $1.5 trillion. You can spend $1.5 trillion to give the top 1% over 80% of the growth by the year 2027. Or you can spend $1.5 trillion to rebuild the roads and bridges of America. And every economic report shows that that would create real jobs and real growth in the economy if given a choice. Given the importance of creating aggregate demand in the economy over a sustained period of time, let's say 5 years, would you prefer to have the growth associated with infrastructure investment versus that of a tax cut whose growth is questionable at best?
I'll answer that. First of all, you got to compare to last year's first quarter growth was only 1.2% versus this year 2.3%, and you're looking at the acceleration of growth going in the second quarter, probably be close to 3%. So I think you got to look at the trend lines and not just one data point. From my perspective, I think this country can afford investment in business at the same time investment in infrastructure. I believe we needed to invest in business. We had been losing too many jobs for too long to offshoring, and now this tax reform has definitely done that, and as I said earlier, I'd like to see some effort done by Congress relative to infrastructure and figure out how to pay for that, but I think that we can do both things in this country, and they're showing the benefit for this country.
Thank you, Representative. You know, I was out in your district last year, and I would certainly agree some infrastructure investment is needed there and all around the country. You know, the roads and bridges, we've got some issues, but, you know, I think like Mr. Farr said, we can do both, and I certainly agree the data point, you know, you quoted, I think it's a timing issue, right? One quarter does not a trend make, and we just came off the holiday season. Consumer spending is a little bit restrained as a result, so I hope you'll give it a little more time and watch a few more quarters happen.
I yield back.